I'm gonna restart this video. I've never seen it before. Okay. So this is Lonely Man: Rules of Modern Dating and Understanding Women by It's Complicated. So subscribe to It's Complicated for sure. Let's do it.
Thank you all for 200K. If you want to support this channel, please consider making a donation or clip my videos and share it on all platforms. Don't forget to tag me.
Is it easier for a man or a woman to acquire sex?
It is much easier for a woman to acquire sex.
Why is that?
Because we choose. We choose whether or not we have the option of whether or not we're gonna let a man have sex or not.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
Don't women typically consent to
Because guys have testosterone. That's why.
sex?
Consent goes both ways.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. What's the longest that a man's ever made you wait for sex?
You know what? It's happened. I don't know.
But does that typically happen?
Maybe. Oh, no, it doesn't typically happen.
Okay, so isn't it fair to say that women generally control access to sex more than men
If
do?
a woman wants sex,
They can't admit that they have power. They always want to be the victim, which I think is interesting. They always want to be, even when they have power, like maybe not always, but in some ways, they won't even acknowledge it. They won't admit it. This is pretty obvious, and this is pretty small, and she knows that women do gatekeep sex, but she doesn't want to admit it because that would mean she's not a victim.
she can get it. If a man wants sex, doesn't mean he can necessarily get it.
Okay, so is it safe to say that women typically control access to sex more than men do? Because it's
Yes.
easier for a woman to get sex than it is for a man?
I don't like the phrasing that you're boxing me into, but I would.
But I mean, would you have a different way of explaining it? I mean, is that not generally true?
I think that
I mean, if it's
Just say yes. Yes, it's true.
easier for a woman to get sex and it's harder for a man to get sex, we can't conclude that women typically control access?
okay, it's easier for a
Okay, that's not yes. Dude,
girl for sure. Yeah, guys are thirsty.
look at blue fucking, like the bluish purple hair. What do you think? What do you think she believes?
Since it's harder for men, should women be surprised that guys have lower standards for sex than women?
Hold on a second.
Not really, because I mean, they just want to get it in, right?
Yeah, real quick.
Don't women have the privilege of being more picky because they have more options?
Yes. Yeah.
Don't women have the privilege of being more picky because they have more options?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of an incel?
No.
What's her tattoo say? What the fuck is that? Is that a reference? What is that tattoo?
An incel?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
Have you ever heard
That bitch's voice is deeper than mine, bro.
of an incel?
No.
Okay, incel stands for involuntarily celibate, and it refers to a person who can't get any sex. Who is more likely to be involuntarily celibate, men or women?
Men.
Men. I think it's 1 in 3 men are not having sex right now.
In today's society, if a man goes up to a woman and asks her for her number or Snapchat, he's looked at as like a creep and a pervert. But if a woman goes up to a man, it's 100% okay, which is not okay to me.
Why are men shamed for not being able to get sex, but also shamed for trying to get sex?
That's a good question. I think it's the way they go about trying to get sex, because women want relationships. Well, I can't say all women, but a good amount of women want relationships, and when you meet the men that just want sex, it kind of tarnishes everything.
In order to be in a relationship with somebody, you spend a lot of time with that person. You have to be somewhat interesting. And most of these women, I say 9 out of 10 have no personality, nothing unique about them, nothing that makes them interesting, nothing that makes you want to stick around. And that's the problem. That's why a lot of these guys, I think, a lot of guys, including myself, just want to pump and dump, hook up with a girl for a night, and then maybe talk to her here and then if you want to spend another night, hook up, whatever. But besides that, 99.9% of these girls have nothing else to offer. No personality, no life experience, nothing.
Is it fair to shame men for being incels when women are the ones who control access to sex?
I don't think you should shame anybody for anything.
Is it fair to shame men for being
And girls, that's probably that would be. I think that's females' number one shaming tactic is saying a guy either has a small dick, makes no money, or he gets no play. So
incels when women are the ones who control access to sex?
No, not at all.
Isn't that victim shaming?
Yes, 100%.
Isn't every man who's been rejected temporarily an incel?
Yes.
Is it fair to portray incels as lazy, immature losers because they don't conform to women's standards and selectivity?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Fucking incel.
If a man can't get sex, he might be made fun of and called names just for that. And then, well, also I think if a man does get a lot of sex, it might be like everyone praises him also for getting a lot of sex. So
I also think a lot of these females think that a lot of these guys are getting like a lot of play, and they think that maybe because the guy's attractive or he seems confident or he acts or dresses a certain way, they automatically think that guy is a player and he gets a lot of play. When the reality of the matter is the complete opposite. Because guys have to have value, and they gotta persuade, and they gotta swindle, and use their life experience and their humor and be interesting in order to get in bed with a woman. It's not that easy. It's not as easy for a guy as it is for a female.
I don't really think that there's a whole lot of men out there that are getting shamed for having a lot of sex.
Is it fair to portray incels as lazy, immature losers because they don't conform to women's standards and selectivity?
Nigga,
No.
Oh, what the fuck is that thing on the left? You see that shit? Is that a boy or a girl?
everybody is built different and has their own standards in life.
If a man does conform, does that make him a simp?
Negative.
No.
Why is it more acceptable to shame men for having low standards versus shaming women for having unrealistic high standards?
That is right. I'm speechless on that one.
Oh yeah, you kind of got me flabbergasted on that one.
Right, you're flabbergasted. Don't know what to say.
Damn. Survival of the fittest. Whoever seems like they're about to get it in, gets it in, and they continue their genes and whatnot. But besides that, like, I don't know.
So would you say, based on that women ultimately control the evolution of society?
Yes.
Based on the men that they choose?
Yes, it's because it's like the mating rituals. Like they say yes or no in most breeds.
So then how are we living in a patriarchy where men have all the power?
Just because that's how society was set up when women were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids and the guys went out and did all that shit, we're supposed to rely on them.
What is the longest you've gone without having sex?
A year?
What is the longest by choice you've gone without having sex?
A year.
A year?
Probably like 18 years.
What is the longest by choice you've gone without having sex?
Probably like a month.
Who's more likely to lie about how long they've gone without sex, men or women?
Women.
Don't men lie about getting more and women lie about getting less?
No.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't men lie about getting more and women lie about getting less?
Yes.
Why?
Yep.
Because we're seen as being tarnished for the more sex that we have.
Why are women who sleep around seen as sluts while men who sleep around are seen as studs?
Because men have to prove their value to get in bed with women. Women just have to be attractive and show up. That's why.
Men don't want-
That's one of the reasons why.
To see that their woman that they have prospect to be interested in has been with every man.
Could it be because
Is it a fucking Bruno Mars
it's
tattoo on
easier
him?
for a
What
woman to
does
be a
that say?
slut?
No,
Well, don't women control access to sex?
they do, but there are many male sluts. They're just being praised for
I don't think a man can be a slut unless you're fruity.
being that way.
But isn't it harder for a man to be a male slut than it is for a woman to be a female slut?
Depends on the man.
Wouldn't you say that the high-value men with lots of options are rare?
Yeah.
So then, wouldn't you say that it's more likely for your average woman to be a female slut than your average man?
Yes.
Women sleep with who they want, men sleep with who they can.
Facts.
What?
Why is that funny? What's so fucking funny about that? Why are they so fucking happy?
the difference
You don't see the guys giggling and fucking laughing every 5 fucking seconds, dude. There's nothing funny about that.
between shaming a woman for being a slut and shaming a man for being an incel? In other words, why are women shamed for having too much sex while men are shamed for not getting any sex?
Well, women can't have sex without being attached in some way.
That's true.
It's just in our innate.
What do you mean they can't have sex?
Not that they can't have sex. They can't have sex without having some type of emotional attachment.
Why do you think men are more likely to be able to have sex without feelings than women?
Oh, dude.
Because you guys are
full screen like
made
that.
to procreate.
The name is involuntarily celibate, so the man is not
Yeah, he
choosing.
doesn't have a choice for that one. But us females, we definitely have a choice to be a slut or not.
Well, because women control access to sex.
I control whether you take my clothes off or not.
We do. Don't women have a choice to be a slut, but a man doesn't have a choice to be an incel?
Yeah.
So then why would it be worse to call a woman a slut than it is to call a man an incel?
I don't know why it would be worse.
But our society labels it as worse.
They label being an incel worse than being a slut?
Well, in other words, a lot of women resent being called a slut when they have a
Correct.
choice to be a slut, but it's okay for men to be called incels when men don't have a choice to be an incel because men don't control access to sex.
I think men
Dude, they don't care. They like to laugh at you. They like to see men suffer.
they don't have the choice on what they're doing, but nowadays with social media going the way it is, women have actually embraced slut. And that's the problem.
Do you think women today are more interested in relationships or hookups?
This dude have no shirt on?
You know, I would say more hookups today.
Why?
Because they have all these rappers, you know, saying, influencing them, like, trying to, basically they're trying to play the role as men, you know, they're trying to play us out of our money, and it's bullshit.
Me personally, I'm more interested in relationships. Women nowadays, I think, are more worried about their careers and hookups.
So if women are more interested in hookups, how can a man let a woman know he just wants to hook up without making her feel like a slut?
There isn't a way, no matter what.
So aren't we kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't?
Yes, you are.
Would you rather have the best sex you've ever had or the best food you've ever eaten?
Best food you ever eaten.
Yeah, food for sure.
Best food I've ever eaten.
I'm a foodie. I like food.
Would you rather eat all the junk food you want without gaining weight or have unlimited sex without being slut-shamed?
Unlimited sex without being slut-shamed.
Who are the bigger slut-shamers, men or women?
Women?
Women, for sure.
Why are there men who shame women for being sluts when men also complain about how hard it is to get laid? Are those the same men?
No. I think the men that are calling women sluts are looking for a woman that aren't sluts.
If a woman's body count doesn't matter, why is it typically the first thing women bring up to shame another woman they are jealous of? In other words, why would a woman ever slut-shame another woman?
Yeah.
Because...
And those are the same women that say, it's okay. They'll tell their friends that it's okay, you know, it's okay to be a slut. You shouldn't slut shame. They'll tell another guy who maybe makes a joke, you know, somehow relevant to that. And it's like, oh, you shouldn't slut shame, this, that, the other. And then they'll turn around and call their fucking friend a whore.
They know deep down body count does matter.
Of course it matters.
Is the main reason women don't want to be easy is because they don't want to be shamed? Or could it be that they don't want to relinquish their sexual power over men?
I don't think either one of those. I think the reason why women don't want to be easy is because we don't want to have a body count, because we want to find somebody that wants us for who we are, and the guys that we're looking for don't want a woman with high body count.
What?
No, she's pretty honest.
Why is it okay for women to feel entitled to be protected and provided for, but it's wrong for men to feel entitled to sex and intimacy?
I think after being provided for so long, and once you're comfortable in the relationship, that men are going to expect for you to be intimate with them at a certain point.
Are women doing men a favor by giving them sex?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
For a moment.
If a woman rewards a man with sex, why is there still pressure on him to perform and satisfy her?
men can be selfish.
But girls will not come back if they're not like doing well. Yeah.
Well, why should a man have to earn the opportunity to please you sexually?
Because women get to decide everything in other species, so why not human species?
Okay, but then if that's true, then why do we complain about being in a male-dominated patriarchy where men control women?
Because it's the hunter and gatherer type of discussion. Because we
They never thought about this shit before. They never had to.
had to stay at home and wait for the men to come and hunt and bring that shit back to us for us to like cook and shit. So that's where it started.
Are there female
Yeah, we did that when you were traditional. Now you're modern. You can do that shit yourself.
incels?
I think so, maybe.
Would it be fair for society to shame a lonely old cat lady for being involuntarily celibate?
No.
How likely are men to have sex with a lonely woman out of pity?
I guess it depends on who you ask. I'd say pretty likely.
How likely are women to have sex with lonely men out of pity?
Oh, unlikely.
No.
They just want men that are rich and famous.
No, that gotta be fucking weird to them. He's
How
a creep.
likely are women to have sex with lonely men out of pity?
Not so likely.
Why is that?
Because a woman wants a man that looks strong and feels strong, and she feels like she's going to be protected, and that's what they look for. So if you look like you're the weak one cowering in the corner, she's probably not going to go up to you.
Men think that there are these issues. Like, if you were more confident, or if you just, like, put yourself out there more.
If you were just confident, like, dude, confidence, it's... Women come out of the fucking womb confident. Guys, most men, intelligent men, need to build their confidence over time through trial and error. You don't just be confident. It doesn't just fucking happen that way. You don't just like, I'm confident now, and you fucking go and do shit. It's fucking trial and error and embarrassment. Consistently. It's fucking just constant fucking embarrassment. It's not that easy. And then when you are super confident, then girls look at you like, oh, look at this cocky asshole. Look at this cocky bastard. Right? It's a fucking double-edged sword. Because then you get so confident that they want nothing to do with you. So then you got to retract, and then you got to find that sweet spot in between. It's not that fucking easy.
You just, like, okay, whatever, just do it. I guarantee you, it doesn't matter what the woman's standards are. That.
Yeah, her tattoo said Silk Sonic on her fucking chest, dude. Yep. And she had a Bruno Mars tattoo on her arm.
That's what they're attracted to.
Let me ask you this. So if you woke up tomorrow and you were a guy and you wanted to get laid like most guys do, how would you do it?
Dude, that's a great question.
I'd go to a bar, find a pretty girl sitting at the bar, sit down, and I'd say,
I just go, ew! Go away! Sorry, you need to be at least 6'3". That's what she'd tell you. Because judging you by your appearance right now, I think you're about 5'5", 5'6". I'm guessing. Fucking throwing it at the board.
ask them if I could buy them a drink. Literally. That's all you have to do. Make
No, that's okay.
yourself there. Present yourself. Be confident.
I understand that, but if that was true, why would there be so many guys who complain about being stuck in the friend zone?
Because they're too busy trying to be the nice guy. They're not actually presenting themselves that they want this. They're looking like the friend, so we see them as a friend.
Do you prefer a man who is a gentleman or a bad boy?
I like a gentleman.
Is it fair to say women lust after bad boys that want to settle down with nice guys?
Yes.
How do bad boys treat women?
Like shit.
What's the difference between a man who spoils his woman and a man who's whipped?
What's the difference between a man that spoils his woman and a man that's whipped?
His level of consent and his part in happiness in doing whatever he's doing for his woman. If he's not happy doing it, if he's resenting her,
It depends on the authority that he puts down. Like, there can be a man that spoils his woman in a certain way. He takes her to dinner, he takes her out, he takes her on vacation. And then there's the men that literally
How about your flowers? How about your chocolate?
bow down hand and foot for their women, that the women are running all over them.
Yeah, they hate that shit.
If a woman expects to be spoiled, doesn't that mean she expects her man to be whipped?
No.
Do men shame each other for being whipped the same way women slut shame each other for being easy?
Yes. I don't know about that.
I would say not as much. I think a lot of guys, especially here in the South, they tell you that you should be doing those things for your woman. You should be worshiping her. You should be getting her gifts. You should be doing all this fucking thing. You should basically be fucking bowing down and worshiping the fucking ground, throwing rose petals wherever she fucking walks. That's bullshit. And that's why all those fucking guys that give out that shitty fucking dime store fucking useless advice, they're all divorced at least once, and they never learn.
I do know that men will shame their friends for being whipped, and I think that's a problem with the patriarchy.
There's no fucking patriarchy, and it's not a problem. If you have a friend that's pussy whipped, fucking shame him. Call him a pussy. Call him out. Record his ass. Embarrass him. That's fucking wrong.
Does every incel hate women?
No.
Does every feminist hate men?
Probably, yes. Yes.
Yes.
Does every incel hate women?
I don't believe every incel hates women. I think that they might be shyer than most men. I think more alpha males end up getting more sex than more beta males do.
Does every feminist hate men?
Huh? Yes.
Dude, she's cool, man. Despite her tattoos, she's kind of cool. She's been very honest.
I'm not a feminist. I am more of a traditional woman, so
You're not traditional at all. She looks like a feminist.
really can't speak on the feminist woman because I don't agree with most of them.
What is the patriarchy?
Patriarchy is... You're going to make me describe this.
How do you define it?
Well, the old white men who have deemed what is acceptable for men and women, the roles of men and women, social norms.
Well, they're not doing such a great fucking job, you know. Girls with body counts of 30, 40, 50, some with the fucking 100, 200, 300. And this is the norm. Hookup culture, fucking divorce rates through the roof. If we live in a patriarchy, you know, these guys are at the fucking top telling women how they should be. They're doing a fucking shitty job. This patriarchy fucking needs a new president because this shit's fucking going downhill fast.
Fall back to old white men deciding for everybody.
Yeah, shout out to Sneeko. Alright. I'm gonna, cause I'm not sure how that sounded. I'm gonna switch over to fucking, oh shit. R.I.P. Kevin. Switch over to StreamYard and do a quick fucking reaction over there. Yeah.